I'm Pam Seidel at Bathurst and Front, overlooking GO Transit's busiest rail corridor, the Lakeshore East-West line. Now, you can't see them, but in the tracks below me are switches. They are critical to the safe operation of the trains, and when one breaks down, that can wreak havoc on the system, and that's what happened this morning west of Oshawa. Now, eventually, crews did manage a temporary fix, but there are still delays. There have been delays all day on the Lakeshore East line. It all led to some very frustrated commuters, including our colleague Amar Sodi, who takes the GO train in from Oshawa every morning.
Pam, it was one of the worst commutes I've had in a long time. Got to the GO station at Oshawa at 7:30. Should be getting on the train at 7:33. We're standing outside on the platform for an hour waiting for any train to roll in. It finally rolled in around 8:30, and that train, instead of being express, was all stops. For a commute that should take an hour, took 3 hours this morning, so it was an absolute nightmare to get into work this morning.
It seems like the first snowfall of the year, it's always delayed. It is very inconvenient.
Calling people, oh, I got to get to work on time, I'm late already, I'm trying to get there at the train, so really, yeah, it was an eye-opener.
Thousands of GO riders felt that annoyance this morning of being stuck waiting on a cold, empty platform with no train in sight. There were a couple of issues this morning. The first was that a trespasser was spotted near the tracks, which forced crews to shut down the Lakeshore East line for 40 minutes just as rush hour was starting. Then a switch broke between Whitby and Oshawa, which made matters much, much worse.
It is what allows them to go from one track to another track. And if those aren't operating safely, they can't. They just can't run the trains. It's just not safe. That's how you end up with derailments and so forth.
An investigation is underway to determine if the break was weather-related. It may be just a coincidence that this happened during the first snowstorm of the season, but GO riders hope that this morning's broken switch is not a bad sign about the winter to come.
They can be affected by the weather, and we have built in new systems that actually they're hot air blowers to keep the ice from forming into the switches. They don't freeze like people think they do. Things get stuck in them, and it's usually ice pellets and so forth.
Anne-Marie Aikens tells me there are hundreds of switches throughout the system, and they do their best to keep them maintained and replace them when necessary. They're managed through their central control room, and they also have a manual function, but in this case that didn't work, so the line had to be shut down. She also says they were well prepared for this storm, with crews out all night clearing the tracks and platforms. Aikens encourages everyone affected by this morning's delay to take advantage of GO Transit's service guarantee.
They absolutely get refunded. We have, if you're 15 minutes delayed or more, and it's our fault, which this was our fault, you're entitled to a refund.
So, as I mentioned, crews did manage a temporary fix this morning, but commuters can expect relatively minor delays for the remainder of the day. Once service ends tonight, crews will get out there and fix the switch properly, so everything should be running smoothly tomorrow morning.